Welcome to House of Horns. It's week 13. It's the Rams against the Seattle Seahawks. We're back in the NFC West grind. But now that I figure it out, that is not Victor Producer. That is not Victor Javier Corona. That is Fernando Ramirez. Do you have a middle name, Fernando, actually?
Juan.
Okay, Fernando Juan Ramirez is being so kind today to fill in at House of Horns. Victor Javier Corona is not feeling well. He's day-to-day. He'll be back soon, but it's okay. We have Fernando Ramirez, Juan, which I feel like I've never known that about you. That's my bad. But co-host, 1-2 punch here of COMPAS on the beat together on a different show. Fernando, how you doing?
Coach, will Victor be able to play this weekend?
No, but I can tell you he had successful surgery. He is day-to-day, but ruled out for House of Horns, Rams versus Seahawks game preview. But don't ask me again. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. You know how coaches get all annoyed. I
don't play one on TV. No, I appreciate. That's why I was looking around. I'm like, look at this new digs. House of Horns. I hadn't been on here yet, so this is pretty cool. And that's what we do here at COMPAS on the beat. If somebody's down, you tag the next guy in. Next man up mentality. And so it's awesome to be here, and I appreciate you asking me to jump on.
Yeah, so how do you feel about your Rams knowledge? Because, I didn't give you a proper introduction, Fernando, because you are the co-host of COMPAS on the Beat, but you're also the Chargers beat reporter for the Sporting Tribune. And those boos you hear from the viewers of House of Horns, they're not big Chargers fans. But what's your Rams knowledge? Because I know you know it all, Fernando. You're doing soccer, all that stuff. You're a wrestling guy. You know Rams, right?
Oh, yeah. No, and you know what's funny? Is that because you've been on the beat, I've paid more attention to the Rams this year, obviously reading your stuff and what's going on with them. And then obviously last year, we covered them heading into the playoffs, heading into the Super Bowl, especially because they were the only LA team that made it last year. So I like some of what the Rams have done. Like I said, you always pay for your sins at the end, and I feel like that's what the Rams have done. They went all in. They got a Super Bowl trophy. Heck, you'll take that Super Bowl trophy and paying for your sins any day of the week. If I was the Rams, Stan Kroenke, my feet would still be on my desk. I'm chilling. Look at that Lombardi. I brought one to LA. So straight cold chilling. Obviously, they've had some injuries this year. Some guys have gone down, but hey, I mean, all you can say is we won the Super Bowl. We're Gucci. We're good to go. So there's nothing to be mad at in LA. But obviously, they're sitting at 3-8. And the problem is there's nothing really to tank for. You don't have a first round draft pick. So it's like you're tanking for the second, your second round first overall draft pick, which I guess is the 33rd overall pick. What do you make of it? And is it too soon? Like, you know me, I start looking at mock drafts and everything right now. Is it too soon to start looking at mock drafts, or what have you kind of been looking at?
Well, Fernando, this is why you're a great co-host, because you're already leading me to the next segue. The engagement question here at House of Horns this week is, who do you want to tank for the second round? That sounds so weird. I think we need, how it was like tank for Tua for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Tank for 3-3, right? The 33rd pick in the second round. Is that what the Rams should go for?
I mean, they haven't had a first round draft pick since Jared Goff. So
it's been a long time.
So look at how long ago that was, 2016.
And they're trying to still trade their other first round pick for next year. And the year after that, I'm like,
they probably will.
You need to get, I don't know. We could get into that eventually, Fernando, because I feel like you got the Super Bowl. You have this really bad season.
What?
Keep the picks, man. You didn't get Christian McCaffrey. So they got this is what they
them picks.
No, man. Keep it for 3-3, second round, 33 pick in the draft. And let me start this way for the engagement questions. Viewers of House of Horns, comment under this video. Who do you want? Because I know you're looking at mock drafts, Fernando. You know when the Chargers have a bad year, you like to look at mock drafts even when they're winning in November, December 1st. So who do you want in the comments? Let us know, because I was actually already looking. I was looking for the first time. I'm going to admit. But Dame Burglar, am I saying that right, Fernando?
Yes.
Burglar from the Athletic. He's their NFL draft expert, and he was kind enough to put the Rams on there, because the funny thing right now, Fernando, the third overall pick is the Rams pick, but it's going to the Lions for the Matthew Stafford trade. So it's number 3 right now. So they will be 36 right now.
Yeah.
Is my math correct? Yeah, 36 in the second round. But Dame Burglar from the Athletic said, BJ Ojolari, edge rusher from LSU. Looks like a good pick to me because they do need pass rushers on this team. And I'm going to give you credit, Fernando. This is why I have you on House of Horns. You said from the start in the summer, yeah, that's a talented team, but who replaces Von Miller? Where's the pass rush going to occur from this team? And that was one of the biggest, like, before the injuries, that was the biggest weakness. The Achilles heel, they could not put a pressure. It was just Aaron Donald. I hadn't even brought that up. Aaron Donald is hurt, but we'll get there eventually. A lot of injuries on this team. But last thing, yes, comment. Who do you want in the second round? Eventually, I'll make Fernando do a bunch of mock drafts for the Rams because he's a busy guy.
And you know what? I love mock drafts. By the way, Addison, that wide receiver out of USC, that's who a lot of people are mocking the Chargers. Some other defensive tackles and everything. You know me, speed.
Already ahead.
Let's Lambo. Let's get a Lambo. Obviously, but I mean, hey, pass rush is really what they need. They really haven't had, like, Von Miller last year. What he added it wasn't just him coming in and getting his own. He was opening up lanes for Leonard Floyd, for some of these other guys, and that's when you have an elite pass rusher like him, that's what happens. You open up avenues for everybody else. This year, what if people, and at times that's why Aaron Donald was one-on-one, maybe only doubled. This year, Aaron Donald, I've been watching him. He's been triple teamed. They've been trying to throw everything at him. Why? Because they don't fear the rest of the pass rush that the Rams have, and that's what happens when you lose some pass rush. So great pick. I mean, if the Rams can get some pass rushing in the offseason, that's only going to help them out. But yeah, the Rams to me, Gilbert, and I know 3-8, everybody's going to be like, what? This guy's crazy. The Rams to me are the most interesting team going into the offseason. There's a lot that can happen there. So I'm really interested in what the whole dynamic of the Rams is going to be moving forward into the offseason.
Yeah, you've been putting a lot of ideas in my head, and at the rumors are starting to get some legs now. Like, what's going to happen to Matthew Stafford? Would he, like, when you win?
I don't just know WWE rumors. I hear rumors, other rumors too.
And sorry, I kind of like to limit you, but that's my bad. But when you win the Super Bowl, it just changes your whole mindset, right? Like, you're like, I already got one. Why do I need to keep taking a hit? Like Aaron Donald, Matthew Stafford. Those are the two guys that come to mind. And even like Sean McVay, who was flirting with Amazon. Like, will he come back? He just signed a massive extension, so maybe he will. But you keep putting it in my head, like, watch out for this. Like, that's the thing. Like, I know we have to get to the show and talk about the Seahawks, but that's my thing. Is like, okay, say you have no guarantee that Stafford and Aaron Donald are coming back next year. That's why you got to start keeping your picks. Eventually, build for the future. But say they're all back and the band's coming back together, then I guess maybe F them picks model. But right now,
how good could they really be?
Exactly. That's the other point. Is like, okay, you still have the core, the nucleus, and you go get a Christian McCaffrey. That wasn't going to be enough, right? Like, you can't just trade for like a Brian Burns and say we're back in the Super Bowl picture. This team has a lot of holes, and that's why we're tanking for 3-3, the third pick overall in the second round.
Not just that.
Oh yeah, that's
how are you going to fix your offensive line if this is, and don't look at what the wallet is, but there's no money in, like, how, like, that offensive line, you're going to have to rebuild it. It's going to be tough. It's not as easy as what people have made it seem to be. Like, okay, you see that the Buccaneers have been able to do it. Other teams have been able to do it. But even okay, let's look across the town. And I don't mean to compare, but like with the Chargers, how long didn't it take Tom Telesco to be able to, and that offensive line still isn't completely 100% good, but it's a above average offensive line. It takes a couple of years. It's not just going to be plug and play and this and that. And you can't moneyball an offensive line. You're going to have to put some serious money into it. And that's the thing. Do the Rams have money to moving forward? That's going to be the real question, especially with Jalen, Cooper, Matthew, and Aaron commanding most of the salary cap.
Yeah. So, like, you don't have the money to go get veterans. You have to draft these guys. And I think right now, from the 5 linemen, like from their week 1 starters, because they're not going to play together this year, it's only Rob Havenstein, the right tackle, who was pretty much going to be for sure. Like, even the left tackle, Joe Noteboom, he had a lot of question marks. The center, Brian Allen, can't stay healthy. David Edwards, left guard, has 2 concussions. He might come back this year. And then the the right guard, Coleman Shelton. He's a guy who's a flex guy who could play center. But is that core really going to be your unit? I don't know, Fernando. But again, the point is you got to keep the picks eventually because this team has a lot of holes. And credit to you, Fernando. That's why you're on here to brag. You had it right in the summer. I was over here.
No bragging. No, but and honestly, you need to keep picks also because the Rams actually don't do bad when they draft. They've drafted some really good players. It's going to take some time. Like, I can't wait to watch Kyron Williams from Notre Dame. He's going to start shining pretty soon. I mean, it might take him till next year to do it, but that kid's going to be good. Tutu Atwell, some of these other guys that they draft, Van Jefferson, I feel like if those guys can have one healthy season, they're going to be okay. So definitely you see the flashes with these guys. So the Rams have something to work with. It's just, if they come back next year, can Allen Robinson integrate himself into the offense right away? Will Matthew Stafford, if he does come back, still stare down Cooper Kupp the whole time? You need to spread, like, if you spread the ball around, good things are going to happen. And that's what they did last year when they had OBJ, when they had Cooper Kupp. They spread the ball around so well, and that's why they ended up winning the Super Bowl.
Fernando, you're kind of gonna. I usually save to my my previews for my stories during the week at the end. But you set me up here. I have pretty much 6 important questions that the Rams need to answer in the next 6 games. You like that? 6 questions in 6 games.
Like that.
I'm trying to think ahead. It's like, say you bring back that core of Allen Robinson, Van Jefferson, and Cooper Kupp. Is that going to be good enough? Like, you're the guy who likes receivers. Like, it might not be. Like, maybe you have to get out of that Robinson contract. Maybe you have to start all over again. And Cooper Kupp, and then you need 2 other guys because I'm not even for sure Van Jefferson's a guy. He's gonna have to prove it again the final 6 weeks. But the wide receiver group, like we went into this, summer, the reporters thinking like they might be loaded here, and we got it all wrong because 7 receivers on the final roster or 8 receivers, and who's doing what? It was just Cooper Kupp. So that's one of my questions. You got to figure out, is this gonna be the core you're gonna go with? And the other questions are like offensive line, like running backs. The secondary with Jalen Ramsey could be revamped next year, but I'll get into that. But that's one of my stories. That's coming out Thursday, the day of this podcast. But let's get it going, Fernando. See, this is what we do on COMPAS and B. We just keep going off a lot of dialogue, and then suddenly it's 12 minutes into the show. Yeah. But let me get to some news and notes here. I'll keep it quick because we have bigger storylines to get to. But it's just injuries right now for news and notes. They're very thin at the outside linebacker position because they released Justin Hollins last week. Pretty much all they have is Leonard Floyd right now. And he's having kind of a nice little surge. But Terrell Lewis, a guy who was, had the increase in snaps because Justin Hollins got released, he could barely play last week against the Chiefs. He only got 14 defensive snaps because he had like a disc bulge in his back. And he didn't practice on Wednesday when I'm recording this. So it's going to be Leonard Floyd and who else for this Seahawks game. And pass rush is already a problem. So Terrell Lewis has a back problem.
Bro, just take out the disc, blow on it,
put it back.
Get it on the shirt, and then insert it back like PlayStation 2.
That's what I thought when I heard McVay say, "Oh, here's the disc." Exactly. Whatever, man. And then Ernest Jones, also another young guy who needs to prove it. Second-year inside linebacker, also has a back problem. And the thing with Ernest Jones, like I actually caught up with Ernest Jones in the locker room last year because the name Ernest Jones stuck around because he was big in the Super Bowl. When they started blitzing, it was his number, and he was helping hit Joe Burrow. And that didn't really lead to a big second season because when you're an inside linebacker, you don't play a lot of snaps when you have a middle linebacker named Bobby Wagner. And he's eating up all the snaps there. And Ernest never really got going. And Bobby Wagner is playing so well that, like, you got to figure out, do you let the veteran get the snaps or you start letting the young guy? And they're not going for the young guy. So that's kind of hurting Ernest Jones, but might not matter. He has a back problem. And then for the offensive line, Fernando, I could talk about this all day. But they're getting a little healthier. The center, Brian Allen, limited in practice Wednesday. And then Ty Nsekhe, the left tackle, who will be he's the 3rd left tackle of the season. The 4th one, AJ Curry, played last week. But maybe Ty will be ready. Ankle injury, limited. But that is the injuries right now. I don't know why I say it like that right now. But storylines for the Rams and Seahawks is up next. Fernando.
So, yeah, no,
what did you feel about the injury? Sorry.
No, I mean, well, man, that when you read off the offensive line, man, that just PTSD for me. It's just crazy to hear all the injuries on the offensive line.
Yeah, I
And
forgot
then
the Chargers had a bunch of injuries back in the day.
yeah. Oh my God, this week a lot. But I mean, it's tough playing the Chiefs, man. And I mean, that's what happens. Like the Chiefs have a good pass rush. They have some good players, so I'm sure that that also banged them up a little bit. But yeah, no, I mean, they're gonna have to count on the offensive line. They're gonna have to do a lot of dinking and dunking, a lot of screens, a lot of stuff like that to really get them to open up, in my opinion, because you don't want your quarterback to stand back there and take some. I saw some of the shots he took against the Chiefs. You don't want him taking those kinds of shots against the Seahawks.
Bryce Perkins, yeah. Well, that kind of leads me to the storylines here for the Week 13 matchup. It's funny because the Seahawks are the first time the Rams are playing the Seahawks for the first time. They're done with.
Isn't that crazy?
And that's what I was thinking that too. I was like, is it because they're waiting for the Bobby Wagner revenge game?
Nate Taylor told me that the Chiefs haven't played the Broncos yet.
Really?
They're going to play them twice in December.
Because they were trying to hype up the Russell Wilson matchup on Sunday Night Football. And
exactly. And then the Buffalo Bills haven't played the Patriots. They're going to play them twice in December. Like, this is crazy.
These are really late. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it pretty much backfired on the NFL because there's not really. It's gonna be the only thing for Bobby. You know, I'll start with that one. It was supposed to be my last storyline, but Rams storylines. I got 3 for you, and then you'll go with the Seahawks, Fernando. Yep. Bobby Wagner was saying it's just another game. I was like, come on, man! Like you've been like, throwing some jabs at the Seahawks throughout the whole offseason, and I'm not mad at it because you know what the Seahawks did to this guy, Fernando, the heart and soul for 10 years, won a Super Bowl, a leader, a captain, Hall of Fame worthy. He got released. He found that on social media, and he did not like that. Like I get it. He has a big cap space number. You're trying to rebuild. He wasn't going to be part of the future. Maybe you got to read on the wall. Read the wall. You're done. But at least give the guy like a heads up. Like, dude, you're about to get cut. And then the Pete Carroll and John Schneider from the GM of the Seahawks kept saying, "Well, he's his own agent." It's kind of weird to talk about plans like that when he's his own agent. And that was kind of BS. And there was a lot of bickering there, or back and forth. But credit to at least to Pete Carroll and the GM. They admitted they got that one wrong. They botched it. It was a messy breakup. You don't do that to one of your greatest players of all time. But then today, Bobby Wagner did not want to talk. And I was the one kind of like just asking him, like, come on, man. Like, it's the Seahawks week.
Open the fire.
What at one point he was like, I don't care about their quick rebuild. I asked him, how do you feel about them kind of rebuilding so quickly? He's like, I have not paid attention to them at all. You see my jersey, my sweatshirt has a Rams logo on it. I'm like, yeah, it does. Then I'm like, fine, Bobby, you don't want to talk about it. What are you thinking about the kid, Kenneth Walker? And he kind of didn't want to talk about that either. But I started thinking about it for now. Like, this guy has a routine. He's a really composed guy. He's pretty always balanced. He never wants to get too high for a game, and he wants to stay in the routine. I get it. Who am I to question the Hall of Famer messing up his routine? Like, start throwing some jabs. He throws the jabs on the Richard Sherman podcast when on his off day, but not today. I just wanted some jabs here. But Fernando, what do you think about Bobby Wagner playing the Seahawks?
I can't wait till he plays the Broncos. Maybe he'll give you something better when he has to go up against Russell Wilson.
People take pride in him.
Hey, those guys have been talking a lot about Russell Wilson, so that'll be interesting to see that. I'm just interested to see if he does come out with that fire and intensity, and he comes out and maybe strips Kenneth Walker once or twice, or maybe he does one or two things that he's going to do something, either a forced fumble, an interception. He's going to do something where he's going to be like, hey, look, I still got it. I'm not an old man. You don't have to give me the senior menu at Denny's yet. I still got a little something left in this tank. But I agree with you. I don't like the way teams are doing business in a sense, because it's leaving awkward stuff. Like, how many players haven't we heard, Gilbert? They tell us face to face. Yeah, I found out on social media, either that they got signed, released, or any of that. They find out sometimes via social media. And I think that's terrible. I think especially one of your legends, because they're going to retire Bobby Wagner's number one day, or they're going to want to put him in the Seahawks Hall of Fame. I think they should retire his number, though. What he did for that team is incredible. I think that you need to be better with your legends, especially because there could come a day where Bobby Wagner is sitting up, kicking his feet up. You call him, hey, he's smoking a cigar, and goes, nah, I'm good. I remember the way you guys treated me. I'm good. And fans are going to get disappointed. They're going to get angry. So you always want to treat your legends with respect. But I think Bobby Wagner makes a big play this weekend.
Okay. I will write that down. See if it's in the forecast there, Fernando. But the number two storyline before I get to the quarterbacks, that would be the last one. Speaking of legends, Aaron Donald has become a legend in his own right, and I just found this out. This is my bad, but I am new to the Rams beat, so don't mad at me. But Aaron Donald is going to miss his first career game due to injury. He's a 9-year NFL veteran, has never missed a game because of injury. He's only missed 2 games in his career before this week coming up. 2017, both of them came the first game of the year because of a contract holdout. It was a little too late for him to play in the game. Missed week 1, and at the end of the season, he had a rest because of the playoffs and all that. So, 2017 they made the playoffs. Yeah, so it's kind of a rest thing. So those were the 2 games, and then Wednesday, as we're recording this show, Sean McVay said earlier, Aaron Donald has a high ankle sprain and won't require surgery, but he's out. So that's another blow for this Rams team. The star players, man, like I'll get into Matthew Stafford, but Matthew Stafford is going to be out. No Aaron Donald, no Cooper Kupp, no Allen Robinson. I think I named 3 out of their 6 team captains. They're out too. So
they are not going to chant whose house this weekend.
It's going to be a lot of Seahawks fans. So yeah, and that kind of makes me like wonder, like, you know, Bobby Wagner, by the way, is big for the Rams run defense. Like the Seahawks defense, like you'll get into it. They're missing that run defender in the middle, but they're okay. They're okay right now, Seahawks. But for the Rams' sake, their run defense might hurt because, you still got Bobby Wagner, but you won't have Aaron Donald. You won't have Ashawn Robinson, and you're playing that rookie Kenneth Walker with guys named Michael Hoyt, Marquise Copeland, and Greg Gaines. And they're talented players, but they're not what Aaron Donald brings. And Ashawn Robinson tore his meniscus last week. He doesn't play every down, but he was crucial as a run stopper. So they're going to be very thin up top. But yeah, when you're losing Aaron Donald, it's going to really affect your defense. And the last storyline here, Fernando, before I let you chime in, Matthew Stafford, McVay didn't want to rule him out for sure, but he said it's safe to say he won't play. I don't know why you just don't rule him out, but it's safe to say. And then he wants to have, what was that?
Nostalgia.
Yeah. And now he wants to have more mystery, Fernando, because the backup quarterbacks, we have a quarterback competition in December. Bryce Perkins against John Wolford. He won't name a quarterback. And I don't maybe blame the guy because Perkins wasn't that great last week. Like he made plays with his legs, but it might have been better than what John Wolford did against Arizona. So these 2 backups have had to start a piece, and they were both struggling. I think the locker room prefers Bryce Perkins just because he gives you something with his legs. Maybe at home, we might figure out, how to complete more passes because and also they kind of gave him the training wheels, Fernando. He had 5 pass attempts in the first half against the Chiefs. So we'll see who they pick. Let's start out with that for you, Fernando. Give me your take on the Aaron Donald stuff and the Matthew Stafford, but also who do you think should be the quarterback between Perkins and John Wolford?
Aaron Donald, if you're not happy being with the Rams, if you're done, come over to WWE. We'd love to have you over here. We'd love to see you as a wrestler.
Does that have helmets?
Yeah, exactly. We love to see you bring those skills over. And Gilbert wants to thank you for getting him over 800,000 views on TikTok by you just hitting a sled. He appreciates that a lot.
Thank you. Thank
you. Yeah, but no, Aaron Donald, I love watching Aaron Donald play because he's such a monster. So obviously it's going to be a shame not to see him this weekend. He's a tank for sure. To miss only 1 game this is your first game due to injury, that means you're a monster. And I've seen him play through, I think a couple of years ago when the year before they made the Super Bowl run, when John Wolford started against the Seahawks, when they had to go to Seattle.
Yeah.
I remember he had an abductor, a shoulder or something. He couldn't really play hard, or he couldn't play as many snaps, but he still played hard. So, man, he's just a monster. So it's going to be a shame not to see him this weekend. And with the Matthew Stafford stuff, I think they're going to go with John Wolford. I mean, he played well against the Arizona Cardinals. I think they're going to try and go back to him and see what he has. Or maybe they do some Wildcat stuff with Bryce Perkins as well. Maybe throw him a 1-2. Yeah, throw him a 1-2 combo. Try and throw them off and see what happens. But I'm going to be interested to see what they decide to do. Gilbert, with the Seahawks, what do you think is going on with Kenneth Walker? Do you think he's hitting the rookie wall? I mean, it's been the last 2 games, he has combined for 28 rushes for 43 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Raiders, but they were all close touchdowns. What do you think is going on with him?
I don't know, man. It might be like just stacking the box, and like he just was so good early on when Rashad Penny went down and he got the full load there. I think teams were just adjusting, like you mentioned, the rookie wall there for Kenneth Walker. Maybe you want to see a little more out of him, out of the backfield to kind of change it up. But he's a smaller guy, but he's a bruiser. He has good patience. I think he'll get over it. To face this Rams defense without Aaron Donald and Ashawn Robinson could be what he needs, but I'm a little surprised he did not do more against that Raiders defense.
Me
not the
too.
best defense, so it could be something where just a little fatigue's coming in a little bit, and maybe he'll figure it out. But he's a guy that definitely need, because this Seahawks team is 6-5 for now. They need Kenneth Walker to help them out to push for that playoff run potentially.
Yeah, because like I told you on the show, I think it's going to be all AFC or NFC East in the playoffs. But it kind of feels like they hit the wall ever since they got back from Germany. They went to Germany against the Bucks. They lost there. Then they came back, and it feels like they kind of hit a wall a little bit, because then they played the Raiders, and it just didn't look good. So maybe that's what's happening. Maybe they're hitting the wall. But and that brings me into my next thing. They've had a 2-game losing streak, and it hasn't been like against the Raiders. Obviously, they competed. They were right there with them. They lost in overtime. The Raiders defense was able to come up with 2 clutch stops at the end to get the ball back to Derek Carr in the offense. They also were close with the Buccaneers as well, 21-16. Obviously, Tom Brady did what Tom Brady did, and that defense was able to stop them as well. So it's not that the Seahawks are playing bad football. It's just that the other 2 teams have been able to pull it out at the end. Before that, they were on a 4-game winning streak. They had beaten the Cardinals. They had smashed the Chargers. They had smashed the Giants, and they had beaten the Cardinals again. So I mean, I don't know. What do you think is going on right now? Do you feel like that's what they're hitting? They're kind of the low part of their schedule where maybe, ever since that trip, they've kind of gotten a little bit disoriented.
Yeah, like it's weird because this roster is not supposed to be doing what they were doing, at least not before the 2-game losing streak. They were 6-3, and maybe they're kind of just evening out because Geno Smith. Imagine Geno Smith as with 11 or 12 wins. It's just crazy to think. And then your roster is so young too. It's not just Kenneth Walker. This amazing draft class might be going through the wall together at the same time. You got to go all the way to Germany, and you lose to that one, and they have to come back. And I think that game was in Las Vegas. I forget, Fernando. I know the Raiders are not the Raiders. Are not.
No, it was in Seattle.
It was Seattle. Okay, even worse. Yeah. Okay, but then they get carved up by Josh Jacobs. What a performance with Josh Jacobs. The Rams don't have anybody like that, so they don't have to worry about that. There's no Cam Akers and maybe Kyrie Williams. I don't know, Fernando. You know him from Notre Dame days, but I think they'll figure it out. It's a 2-game losing streak there. It's that young growing pains that eventually it's going to catch up to them. But if they don't figure it out, man, the 49ers are going to go away with the division. And you mentioned, man, the NFC East is just loaded. But I think it's probably that young roster, new starting quarterback midway of the year point that was kind of affecting them.
100%. That leads me to my next point. It feels like their defense was playing at a high level with all those young draft picks that you mentioned. Quaytron Diggs had two interceptions against the Raiders. They played some good football, but at the same time, they also gave up a lot of yards. They gave up 7 catches for 74 yards to Devontae Adams, which is actually, that's a win for them, to be completely honest. But they did give out a touchdown to Foster Merrow, Amir Abdullah, Matt Collins. They gave up 295 yards in the air, but then they gave up 283 on the ground. That's what really hurt them. They could not stop the run. Gilbert, what I think is affecting them is they don't have a beefy guy up front that can help them stop the run. And I feel like that's kind of what happened. The Raiders offensive line they were able to do, and they're not a good offensive line according to Adam Hill from the Las Vegas Review-Journal. So they've been able to piece things together and open up holes. So I feel like that's what's happening with them. I don't know what you think about their the struggles with their defense.
That's kind of like the irony, right? Imagine this defense with Bobby Wagner right now. They'll be much better stopping the run. And I know Bobby Wagner can't really, take jabs right now because his team is 3-8, and the team that he left rebuilt quickly, and they're doing well without him. But they kind of need him right now, so that's kind of the way I see it. A little funny, but it's a young defense. So we've seen them get gashed before. There was another game. I'm already blanking. Like, remember that Lions game earlier in the year? Like, it was a shootout between the Seahawks and
Yeah, I have
Geno.
it right here.
Yeah, like that. So like they've had their moments and they kind of just figure it
48
out.
to 45.
Yeah, so this is a defense you could score points on. Like, but then again, the Rams offense has been the worst in the NFL. So I don't know. You might get by with these weaknesses. And this is the last thing, Fernando, before we move on. You know how you were saying it was so awkward to hear the name Kobe Bryant every single time on the speaker?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get it this week. Tyreek Woolen and Kobe Bryant have been a nice duo there for rookie cornerbacks, but I don't know how I'm gonna feel about that here and that at SoFi Stadium.
It's gonna be nuts, but they're both lengthy guys. They both can make plays happen, so that'll be interesting. Now it's time for player matchups, Gilbert. Um, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Jalen Ramsey against DK Metcalf. I think we've seen that in the past before. I know Jalen's been lining up in different places this season, but I kind of want to see if maybe Jalen kicks it back a little bit and tries to go up against DK. I know they've had their battles in the past. I know that Jalen's gotten into DK's face. DK's gotten into Jalen's face. I feel like Jalen needs one of these games, one of these spicy games where it's just him and the other guy. They fight the whole game to really kind of get him jump started again. He's still one of the most lethal defensive players in the league, but I just want to see more from Jalen. I want to see him kind of get into somebody's face, kind of bark at somebody. Like I kind of feel like that's what he's missing. So I'm going to say that him and DK go at it one-on-one, and I want to see what happens this weekend when they both face each other.
Yeah, that's a really good one, Fernando, because you know this really well from being around Brandon Staley. That star role in the defense, which Derwin James has, that's what Jalen Ramsey has, and he has so many different roles. And maybe it's hard to say, hey, go be a linebacker, go be an edge rusher, go be a safety, and then go cover the best guy on the offensive side. And it's a lot, and I get it, but I don't want to make excuse for the guy. This guy is one of the best corners in the NFL. He has to play better when he's playing like a I know Travis Kelce is a tight end, but that Travis Kelce touchdown, that was on Jalen. To start the year, Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, those were on Jalen. And to Jalen Ramsey's credit, he admits when he gets cooked. Like, yeah, I'm a star player, but this does happen to me. But it's happening more frequently this year, and I don't know what it is. So maybe at this point, I know they're 3-8, and there's not much to play for. It might be in Jalen's head, like, okay, I gotta stop giving up these touchdowns here because they're coming on me. And maybe with DK being a bigger dude, maybe works in his favor for Ramsey because I feel like he's a bigger dude himself. He doesn't have to deal with it. But also, too, not thinking about DK is pretty fast, too, right? As a big dude, he's pretty fast. So, and he's a good route runner, too. So it's not going to be easy. I can't even go there. I was just catching myself there. Like, maybe a bigger dude could be better for Jalen Ramsey. But at some point, when you're getting paid like the best cornerback in the NFL and you're the star player, go make a play. Like, go like your boy Derwin James got that interception on DeAndre Hopkins. Go do something like that. So I really like this matchup here, Fernando. For mine, though, I feel like I keep talking about it, maybe because I really like watching the guy play. Kenneth Walker, the rookie, and I just keep going back to this defense. Like, they're very thin. Like, what if Ernest Jones doesn't play and no Aaron Donald? It's going to be just Bobby Wagner and Kenneth Walker just going at it like head to head. Like, I don't know, one of these WWE matches that you like, Fernando.
Yes.
And maybe I gave Kenneth Walker some bulletin board because when Bobby Wagner did not want to answer any questions about the Seahawks, I kind of was like, well, man, what do you want to talk about? Want to talk about Kenneth Walker? He's like, yeah, he's just a guy that I need to tackle. I'm like, just a guy. See, that's me trying to stir the pot.
There you go. Right. Yeah.
So it's going to be a good matchup. I feel like, it's just when you think about player matchups, like all these players for the Rams are out. So I'm kind of limited here for what I want to do. But I am repeating myself. Kenneth Walker, I think it's going to be a big one because he's also due. He's in a funk. So he might be trying to come out and attack this very thin front seven for the Rams, which, Fernando, this defense has been very disappointing overall in terms of takeaways and pressure. But if you look at all the numbers and analytics, I know Brandon Staley likes the numbers. They were pretty much one of the top teams in stopping the run. That might not be the case for this week.
Yeah, and then obviously that keys to the game. For the Seahawks, run, Forrest, run. I think they need to run the football, try and mix and match with what is his name? Bo Dallas? No, something Dallas. They have a guy, I can't remember his name, but he's one of their running backs that they like to mix and match a little bit.
For the Seahawks?
Yeah. His name is hold on, let me get his name. Yeah, I know I'm close to it. It is DJ Dallas. There you go. DJ Dallas. They like to use him in the pass game and in the run game here and there, but I think they need to run the football. I don't think the Rams are going to be able to stop it. I think they should just keep on running with Kenneth Walker, maybe get him going. DJ Dallas as well. Let him get going, run the football, try and run it down the Rams' throat until they can stop it. Once the Rams stop it, okay, then start moving into other things. But if I'm the Seahawks, run, Forrest, run.
Okay, yeah, big keys here is stopping the run for the Rams, because when's the last time they played without Aaron Donald? Like a long time ago. So how's life gonna be without Aaron Donald? No A'Shawn Robinson.
They're gonna be like, usually there's an Aaron Donald right here. He's not here.
Let me give you a side story here before I give you my keys. Like, when we go into this Chiefs game, us the reporters with the Rams, we're like, they're gonna get blown out. Just write a story, and it's gonna be an easy day. And like, what could happen? Like, they already lost Cooper Kupp and Allen Robinson. They're not gonna. The only thing that we could do right now is do like an upset story, but that's not gonna happen. And then we're like, well, if Aaron Donald gets hurt, that's like a breaking news story. He got hurt, and then Sean McVay takes a shoulder hit to the chin, and that's kind of a news story. So they always find ways to kind of get in the news. But you're running out of star players, man. But
did that kid have to run laps?
I actually spoke to him in the locker room
because he hit the moneymaker. You do not hit the moneymaker.
Well, McVay looked kind of pissed off. He was like, "Show some awareness, dude." And then the next day on Monday, he was like, it's cool. Like, I love Roger Carter. He's a nice guy. He's a good kid. Like, it's fine." But also too, like, but also he might be inactive the rest of the season. That's the way. That's the way he kind of does the punishment. And it's funny, Fernando, because remember when I wrote I told you about my Matt Gay World Cup story?
Yes.
I wanted to talk to more people, like who's into soccer, and the 2 or 3 people I talked to for that story kept saying Roger Carter is a big FIFA guy on the sticks. He also likes to watch European soccer. Like, he will get along with Roger Carter. He is a good guy. He's a rookie. He just messed up with the coach, but I never talked to me because I think I got busy and I never got that way. And side story, I know our good friend Jeff Miller of the LA Times, he taught me a couple years ago. He's like, you got to talk to everybody in the locker room, from the long snapper to whoever, the 4th string a guard on the roster, because you never know when you might need to talk to him. You can't just show up when it's only bad stuff. And I messed up. I was going to talk to Roger Carter about the soccer thing. I didn't. And then when he hit the coach, I went up to him in the locker room and I'm like, "Hey, I'm Gilbert. I hate to talk to you under these circumstances." And I remember Jeff Miller saying, "Talk to everybody before the bad things occur." But then I saw Roger Carter today in the locker room, like, "Hey, man, sorry for coming at you like that. I'm sure you're probably like, why are these reporters trying to talk to me? I'm Gilbert. Let's talk about the World Cup." He was watching like the highlights on his phone. He's a big French supporter because he's an Mbappe fan. You might not like this, Fernando. His second favorite player, Lionel Messi. Where's Messi? But yeah,
Messi. You know, it's funny, real quick. I kind of feel like that head coach, the assistant coach, held him up like Jake Paul, like Floyd Mayweather held up Jake Paul during their boxing match, because I thought he was going straight down. But,
do what happened to the get back coach? You needed him right there.
Exactly. So now it's prediction time.
Oh, sorry, Fernando. I didn't give you my real keys. So
my bad.
But it's okay. It's okay. You're trying to cut me off. But I did give you a long story. But my keys to the game, you got the keys, is whoever the quarterback is, man, just make some plays, man, because you can't be 2 of 5 in the first half. I get the training wheels around for Bryce Perkins, but when your punter had 6 passing yards and 1 completion and almost caught up to your yardage, that's not a good sign. So if it's Perkins, McVay, let him lose and let this guy just learn on his own. But can Perkins actually do it? John Wolford, he was pretty bad to me on the Arizona game. Yeah, he has some connection here and there. But whoever this quarterback is, goal number 1, crack 10 points, because I'm tired of watching 10-point games for the Rams often. They're so boring. And then, and also be smart, coaches. Help your quarterback build whatever skill set they have. Wolford is more kind of a traditional passer. Perkins is a runner. Build a good game plan. Be creative. Help out your quarterback. My keys to the game is the quarterback has to make some plays, because it can't just be 2 plays and then call it a day.
Have some respect for our good friend Troy Rank, who has to go through and watch Denver not even being able to score more than 16 points. You're going to talk to him in a couple of weeks, I think. You're going to see, like, I asked him and he goes, "Fernando, they can't put up more than 16 points. What's going on?" So There you go. Now you're getting a little bit of what Troy's getting.
We might be both averaging like 15 points per game, so maybe it might be even.
Oh my god, that would be crazy.
I gotta look it up.
So yeah, so Troy told me that. I'm like, dude, that's crazy. And then I see Troy, like, because he uploads them on Twitter, his news packages, and he's like, the Broncos again could not crack 16 points. And I'm like, geez. I'm like, how?
Let me give you the points because now you got me going. I think I'm close to it. Did I pass it? Keep talking, Fernando. Sorry.
Yeah, no. So Troy had some good stuff. Always has some good stuff. So hopefully he jumps on with you in a couple of weeks, because I'm sure that Christmas bonanza between the Rams and the Broncos, that'll be an interesting game. I wonder how many Denver media are going to come out. That'll be interesting to know.
They're trying to give away those Christmas tickets, by the way, but
the Chargers, what was it? The Chargers Chiefs game. There wasn't that much media in the press box. I was really surprised.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, for a Sunday night game.
Okay, Fran, I got the stats here. Yeah. The Rams are better, so I shouldn't complain. 29th in the NFL, 16.2 points per game. And dead last, the Denver Broncos, 14.3 points per game.
Wow, they averaged 2 touchdowns a game.
Christmas Day should be fun for me and Troy.
16-14 is going to be the final score of that game.
Rams win by 2.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go. That'll be the final score.
Speaking
of predictions, I'll go first, Gilbert. I'll say Seahawks 30, Rams 17 points. I'll give them 17.
30-17. Okay.
Yeah.
Fernando, I think I'm 8-3 on the season, so I'm doing well on the picks because they're pretty easy to pick. But I think I might be 4-5-1 against the spread, so I'm not doing as well. What is that? No, maybe that doesn't right. There's 11 games, right? There was one tie. There was one push.
Okay.
So maybe I'm 5-5-1.
We're at 11 games, yeah, so far.
Maybe it's 5. It might be 5-5-1 against the spread for me. But I am 8-3 overall, straight pick. And the Seahawks right now, Fernando, they're 7.5 point favorites to win the game. So the Rams score 16. I don't know. Maybe they'll cover. We'll see. But the funny thing, I chose the Rams last week to at least cover that 15.5 point spread. They lost by 16. So I was a half a point off on the freaking cover there. So I gave them some respect there. Obviously, I picked the Chiefs to win, but the over under total here is 41.5. Like Fernando, me and Vic like to do the under. I mean the under every game because this team can't score points, and they're always like at 41, 38, 39. I bet you the Chargers game, their totals, they're always like in the 50s or something.
Yeah, exactly.
But for this game here, what did you say? 30-17, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have no Aaron Donald, so their defense is gonna be worse. The Chiefs got 26 on them. All right, you know what? No, it's gonna be a bad defense.
You know, the Chiefs sometimes play down to their competition, and they just beat them at the end.
Seahawks have DK, Tyler Lockett, Geno's on the list. But yeah, I will go 33-17. Seahawks, see, they got over the 16 points for the Rams.
Yeah, exactly.
So what is that? 33 plus 17, 40.
You're like the dude at on The Price is Right that goes, I'll bet $1,600. You go $1,601.
Hey, why not, man? They gotta be doing something right. And half a point they gained here.
There you go.
But Fernando, that wasn't too hard, right? Thank you for filling in. How did you feel about that?
Great. I mean, I told you. That's why I like to study other teams. I like to pick and choose other teams. I like to look at other teams as well, because you never know when you're going to be called upon to do something like that. So I want to be well informed, and that's why I keep an eye on the Rams. Like I said, you're my compa, so you're covering the Rams. I'm going to pay attention to the Rams, see what they're doing, see what they're not doing. I feel bad for you because every week you have to fill out an injury report on every Friday. I'm like, poor Gilbert. It's just literally no matter what happens, Friday's going to be, this is the injury report heading into the weekend, and it's a long list. So, but yeah, no, I like to keep.
I can't plan stories on Fridays, right, Fernando? Because they're always injury stories.
Exactly,
so
exactly.
That's why I'm trying to do my 6 questions and 6 games on Thursday, not Friday, because I learned my lesson. Covering the Chargers, I learned my lesson that you cannot have Fridays for good stories. But I appreciate it, Fernando. If you ever need somebody for What's Up Boats, if say your brother's just having a down day and he doesn't want to talk or whatever, because I know. Actually, yeah, you're right. But whenever your brother's not around, whatever, even if you're not around and your brother needs somebody to fill in, I will help. Imagine that a show, Dan Diego and
that'd be a good show.
That'd be pretty good.
You know what's funny? The other day I was noticing neither one of you lets the other finish their thought when you guys are going back and forth talking about movies and stuff. Like neither one, like each one of you interrupts the other one. I just start laughing. I'm like, this is what I love. I love this kind of chaos. I feel bad for Vic sometimes because I'm like, I hope he understands what this chaos is. It's Gilberto versus Dan and Dago, and they just combat each other during that whole time.
I just feel bad for the listeners of Compas on the Beat because it's just like cut out mics and a cut out mic there. We could just like crashing into each other.
Exactly.
But I just can't help myself. Like he says something, I'm like, "Ooh, I have a good joke here for him," and I'm just gonna go after your
brother. No, and he loves it. No, we're gonna have to do something like that. Maybe for the Rams versus Chargers, I do the first half of the show, and then you guys finish it out after we talk and everything. So that'll be a good one. We'll do something like that. That'll be fun.
Well, Fernando, before we let you go, or we're all gonna be left here, can you? Yeah, nice. About to Sensei.
Exactly.
Anything you want to promote? That's what I'm trying to ask. I know we have a lot of things on the network here. If you want to, anything in the personal side, go ahead.
By the way, my friend today, she works on NBC LA. She was at a restaurant interviewing soccer fans. Guess who she interviewed? Miguel from Cobra Kai. He was just sitting at a random bar, just watching the Mexico game.
Did she know who it was?
I don't know. I messaged her. I'm like, dude, you know you interviewed Miguel from Cobra Kai? And I'm waiting for her to message me back. I'm like, dude, that's so sick. Like, he's just sitting there like at a bar, just watching the game with his friends. I'm like, yo, that is sick. I'm like, I hope she knows who it is. He's actually supposed to be the Blue Beetle in a new it's a Mexican superhero. So he's gonna be the Blue Beetle.
You know,
George
when there's
Lopez, I think it's gonna be his uncle.
Huh? You know, when there's always like a young cast, somebody always blows up. Like, is it gonna be Miguel?
It's gonna be him. Blows up? Oh. I know. You know what? The other kid too, the Tanner kid. I think he's gonna get pretty big too. The Johnny Lawrence's son.
Oh,
I think it's gonna be them two. I think those two are gonna blow up, and they're gonna do some good stuff.
Okay, it's gonna be another podcast here, but
I know
we are fans of Cobra Kai. Go ahead.
So I do want to promote Compas FC. It's a new podcast. We didn't do it after the Mexico-Argentina game because I was sick. I couldn't speak, but we will be doing it this week. We're gonna be breaking down the USA versus the Netherlands. What happened with Mexico? Why did they crash out of the World Cup? Who's going to replace Tata Martino now that he's done? They asked him, hey, are you still the head coach? He's like, nope. As soon as that whistle blew, I'm done. My contract is over. So check out Compas FC. Don't forget to check out I can't even do the voice. What's Up Bolts? Dan and Dago and I have some good stuff cooking over there. Don't forget to check out Compas on the Beat. We have some good stuff cooking on Compas on the Beat. It's obviously great stuff. We talk about everything. Are the Cincinnati Bengals the team to watch for in these playoffs? Are they starting to get hot? We have all the answers over there. And then who's Gilbert's favorite WWE wrestler turned movie star? If you smell, I'm sorry. Well, that's not, I can do that. And then also don't forget to check out Combat Compass. We will be doing a lot more with Combat Compass. We've kind of been in here and there because of the World Cup, because of what's going on in the NFL. So we're going to be picking it back up with Combat Compas and doing some more good stuff. Check it all out. Be a compa, tell a compa, like, subscribe, and don't forget to follow.
Perfect promo right there. I think your brother will be proud of that promo cut there that you just unleashed into the world, Fernando. And for those who don't know or just here because they like the Rams and they like House of Horns, I think my one bar came up. Hopefully I'm not breaking up here, Fernando.
You're good.
Awesome. If you don't know, you're just here because you like the Rams. We have so much here on the Compas on the Beat Network, and Fernando's laid it down. And also, too, if you have Justin Herbert, I would say it, or I don't know about Keenan and Mike Williams, but on your fantasy roster, Josh Palmer on your roster.
Oh, there you go.
For fantasy, check out.
That's how I beat Gilbert a couple of weeks ago.
I know. I said that, I lost by half a point. But yes, we have so much to offer here on the Compas on the Beat Network. So Thank you, Fernando, for helping me out here at House of Horns. And don't worry about Victor. He's in good spirits. Like I mentioned, he's day to day. It's not week to week. He's telling me he might be back for the post-game show. But if he's not, we're going to call you up like Bryce Perkins or John Wolfer, Fernando, to help me out. But I also know you're busy. We'll figure it out because the Chargers are playing the Raiders. So,
yes.
But we will figure it out. But on that note, ya nos vamos. Pues, vámonos.